6 years ago, I stumbled across video editing, and like you, I had no idea where to begin. I booted up the software, stared at the screen, and felt totally lost. So I did what anyone would do. I searched for tutorials, but nothing seemed to answer my exact questions. I spent a whole year trying to get the basics down, just learning a program called DaVinci Resolve. And by the end of that year, I could put together a video, but I still felt like a complete beginner. Then over the next 3 years, I jumped into Adobe Premiere Pro, trying to copy all the cool edits I saw online. And slowly, I started to create amazing videos. And slowly, I started to get better and better and better. But looking back now, I made a huge mistake. I wasted 6 whole years trying to figure it out the hard way. And the truth is, it wasn't supposed to take that long. It could have easily been done in just 3 months. Learning video editing on your own is like walking through a dark jungle in the middle of the night without a flashlight. You're bound to get lost. But today, I'm here to change that. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can go from a complete beginner to a professional editor in just 90 days. No more wasted time and no more guesswork. So, where do we start? Well, if you were an editor who's at level 0 and the goal was to get to level 100 in the next 3 months, here's exactly how you can do that. So this journey is going to be split into 3 distinct phases. Phase 1 is going to be focused on mastering your tools, Premiere Pro and After Effects. Phase 2 is going to be focused on learning the editing styles and becoming creative. And phase number 3 is going to be about creating your brand and your own style as an editor. And these 3 phases will take you from an absolute beginner to a very professional video editor with a great portfolio. So let's go ahead and dissect it. Starting with phase 1, mastering your tools. As an editor, 90% of your time is going to be spent either inside of Premiere Pro or inside of After Effects. So mastery of these programs is not optional. It's the foundation of your creative freedom. So why do our editing tools matter? Think of a painter like Leonardo da Vinci. Could you imagine him trying to create his Mona Lisa without understanding his brushes? Your ability to edit depends entirely on your familiarity with your tools. And Premiere Pro is your all-purpose editor, handling things like color grading, cuts, captions, sound design, and basic animations. After Effects, on the other hand, is your powerhouse for advanced animations and stylization. But before diving into learning both of them, how do we use each one and why? First, we always start in Premiere Pro for organizing, pacing, and basic editing. This is just because Premiere's UI was made for this kind of work. Then we always move to After Effects for animations and high-end visuals. This is because After Effects was designed with a wider range of effects and tools you can use to take your animations to the next level. And finally, we always return to Premiere Pro for sound design and music. This is just because the Premiere Pro UI helps us see and understand sound effects and music a lot better than After Effects. Alright, cool. Now, how do we go about mastering both these programs? Well, it's no secret that this is going to take a minute. However, knowing that this is the most important step, since it's literally the foundation, we're going to be spending 30 days learning everything about these programs. Here's exactly how. The first thing we're going to learn is importing footage and cutting. We're going to learn how to pace our videos through precise cuts. The next thing we're going to learn is audio basics. We can understand audio levels and how to manipulate sounds. Then we should dive into pacing and transitions, which is where we learn how to use J-cuts, L-cuts, and manipulate pacing. And after that, it would be time to learn all about keyframes, learning how to create our animations. And finally, after all that, we can then get into our text basics, which is where we learn how to generate subtitles, captions, and create text styles. And by the end of this first week, if you go through all of these, you're going to have the fundamentals locked down. Now, the fundamentals is the easy part, but what we're about to get into is the big challenge. Week 2 is where we get into the advanced Premiere Pro techniques. The first thing we look into is advanced animations. We dive into animations a bit deeper and play around with graphics and motion graphics. Next, we take our text animations to the next level by creating text styles and text animations that we can reuse in future projects. After that, it would be the right time to dive into sound design, which is where we learn how we can use whooshes, textured sound effects, risers, and hits to elevate our visuals. And after learning all of this, the best thing I could recommend is doing some practice, which is where you download some raw footage and edit an entire video using all of your newfound skills. And after 2 weeks inside of Premiere Pro, you will become an editor who is very, very comfortable inside of Premiere Pro and someone who has mastered the concepts to editing inside of Premiere Pro. Which brings us to the next step, Premiere Pro's older brother, After Effects. As I mentioned before, After Effects is specialized for high quality animations and very high-end editing. But this is what's going to make us high quality editors in 2025. First, let's dive into the After Effects basics. On your 3rd week of phase 1, I would get into the After Effects basics and start things off by learning about the UI and tabs, maybe just spending a day digging around the UI and figuring out what each tab is for. Then I would spend an entire day just getting into animations, and this is where I would learn all of animations and start learning speed and value graphs and how to use them. Then I would spend the next day following up with that, learning motion graphics. This is all about manipulating shape layers and using them and the properties which they have. And after that, that's going to be a big quantity of information. It's time to use that by practicing and creating a few animations, maybe a few motion graphics, and just using all the information you learned and combining it in an animation. And with just your first week done, you will have already learned the basics of After Effects. Then it's time to become really good at this program. That's why on week 4, we're going to finish it off with advanced After Effects techniques. And the first one we get into is advanced 3D animations. It's time to explore 3D renderers, objects, and camera movements. Then it's time to combine motion graphics and 3D. You can use this day to combine both of these together and create some very dynamic scenes. Then on the third day, we're going to get into text effects, which is where it's time to develop more complex text styles and more complex text animations. And then after that, I would take an entire day just exploring the effects inside of After Effects. Experiment with things like distortions, gradients, and much more. And finally, after all this, it's time to put everything you just learned into practice by recreating an animation that you really like from one of your favorite creators. Which brings us to the end of phase 1. And after just 30 days, you will have mastered the basics of Premiere Pro, advanced techniques in Premiere Pro, you will have mastered the basics of After Effects and the advanced techniques in After Effects. And this is now what's going to allow you to use these skills to create very high quality edits. Which brings us directly into phase 2, learning editing styles and creativity. This phase is all about building your creative arsenal by mastering popular editing styles. These styles will not only improve your skills but also make you marketable. So why do editing styles even matter? Well, as an editor, you get paid to edit people's videos, which basically just means you get paid to watch someone's boring clip and turn it into something enjoyable. Now, this can either be done through B-roll, through images, or through animations. And in 2025, high-quality animations are the market standard. And that's why knowing multiple editing styles allows you to tackle every scenario and have a library of animations in your mind to bring any clip to life. Basically, the more editing styles you know as an editor, the more animations you can create for your client's video. And if I could recommend 3 editing styles to learn in 2025, it would be number 1, the Iman Gadzhi editing style. This is one of the most trendy editing styles on the market right now, and it's the one that clients are looking for the most. Number 2 would be the Bimaximize editing style, a clean and simple editing style that will teach you storytelling with videos. And number 3 would be the Josh Leon style. This is the new trendy talking head editing style, and clients would absolutely love this. And if you as an editor learn all 3 of these editing styles, you would all of a sudden be someone that they could hire to edit their videos. And that's why we're going to be spending month 2 mastering editing styles. To do this, we must first learn the most useful editing style. That's why we're going to be spending week 1 and week 2 on the Iman Gadzhi editing style. Week 1 is going to be invested into recreating animations from his videos. Since you're already an editor who knows how to use After Effects to create animations, this is going to be very easy. It's also going to teach you all about creating motion graphics in After Effects. And you're going to get a whole new library of effects that you can create inside of this program. And this is the best thing you can do in the first week. And lucky for you, there are so many tutorials and guides online on different animations from Iman Gadzhi videos. So you've got a lot to get into. And once you've got a good batch of animations prepared, then it's time to put this into practice. That's why we're going to be spending week 2 practicing the editing style. So it's time to put yourself in a realistic scenario and pretend that you have a client. Go find the podcast that Iman Gadzhi was speaking on, cut out a segment and turn it into a 5-minute video. And now it's time to edit this as if it was your client. This will put you in a real life scenario where you actually have to come up with creative animations on the spot. And once the editing style has been mastered, then the rest is going to be easy, which is where we get into week 3, where we're going to be spending time mastering the John Leon style. This editing style is going to be simple just because you've already learned all the different concepts in the Iman Gadzhi editing style. So first of all, focus on creating high quality text animations and graphics. You want to make sure you're spending some time creating these high quality text styles and high quality text animations. Then you want to use your experience from phase 1 to build scenes with motion graphics. And I want you to just spend a few days really mastering how to create motion graphics and graphic animations in the Josh Leon style. And lastly, the third step is to recreate one of his videos by scripting, recording, and editing it yourself. And just as we did before, put yourself in a realistic scenario and train your mind to come up with creative animations on the spot. And with both of these editing styles out of the way, it's time to move on to week 4, in which we're going to be learning the Bimaximize style. This will be by far the easiest one, but it's going to teach you a very valuable lesson. First, you need to dive into storytelling, and you have to craft a compelling narrative. You're just going to be spending an entire day creating a story with interesting characters and interesting plots in mind. Then you're going to be spending some time planning and choosing scenes and shots that enhance the story. You just want to spend another day planning everything out, which shot to use, what movie clip fits here, and so on and so forth. And lastly, you're going to be diving into sound design, where you're going to be using music and effects to elevate the emotional impact. Because after everything is complete, you're really going to need to dive into music and sound design to sell this piece of art. Now, by the end of phase 2, you will have mastered 3 distinct editing styles, and you'll have built a pretty good portfolio as an editor. You've basically become an editor who can edit videos in the Iman Gaji, Josh Leon, and by Maximize editing styles. This makes you a marketable editor, and it basically means that people can now pay you for your service. But how are people going to pay you for your service if they have never heard of you? That's why in phase 3, we're going to be creating your brand image and your style. Could you just imagine if you were someone who was looking for an editor and you're just scrolling through your feed and boom, out of nowhere, a very high quality animation gets popped up on your explore page. It would only be a matter of seconds before you send him a message to hire him. You see, now that you're skilled, it's time to stand out. And a strong brand image is going to make clients come to you instead of the other way around. So why does branding even matter? To attract clients, you need to show off your work in a very professional and memorable way. And that's why we spend month 3 building our brand. And first, we get started with the fundamentals. The first thing we do is gather color palettes and fonts. Simply just choose a color for your brand, generate a color palette, and be consistent with this color throughout everything in your brand. Brands are known for their color, so by you using this color throughout the entire brand, you're gonna appear as a high quality editor. Second is we're gonna take a high quality profile picture. And I've talked about this before, just center yourself with the camera and choose some neutral lighting. It's also a pretty good idea to go down to a professional local studio and take a very high quality profile picture there. And the third step, which is the most important one, is to create a posting system. And this is the most important step. First of all, why do we even want to post? We want to post because this is the only way that clients are going to find us and hire us as video editors. Alright, so why do we want to post every single day? Well, the more we post, the higher our chances are of going viral and blowing up, and the more likely we are to find a client. There are no real metrics here, but I've met people who have posted 3 animations and landed 3 clients. I've met people who have posted 6 animations and landed 3 clients, and I've met people who have posted 10 animations and landed 3 clients. So what exactly are we going to be posting? We're going to be posting animation samples of our work, before versus afters, scene screenshots, anything that makes us look like we're a good editor. And to do this, we're going to be creating a system that makes it as simple as possible to post one high quality animation every single day for 21 days straight. And this system is made up of 3 simple steps. Step number 1 is finding inspiration. So here's exactly how I would do this. I would just have a spreadsheet with 21 columns and 3 sections. The first section would be the date. Let's say it's Monday the 20th. The second section would be the animation we need to create. So let's say it's a graph animation with a cool shape layer and camera movements. And the third section would just contain a link to a tutorial on it in the case that I didn't know how to make it. And the plan is simple. You just structure the animations for the next 21 days, and no matter what happens, you have to make an animation every single day. Which brings us to step number 2, execution. Every single morning, you just need to take the animation which you're supposed to make and make it. So take a look at your current daily schedule and set aside time every single day to create the following animations. I would just do this, right? Look at what time you're waking up and look at how much free time you have in the morning. Can you set aside 3 hours of time to create an animation every single morning? If so, then every single day, make it a routine to wake up, check the animation on the day, and create it using the tutorial and post it. And I promise you, by doing this, you're going to get better than 80% of editors, because 80% of editors are not willing to do this kind of work. Which brings us to step number 3, and this is the final step, which is consistency and engagement. Once the first 2 steps are set up, then it's really easy from there. All you need to do is just be consistent and you're going to land clients. And if you as an editor are able to be consistent for 21 days, even if the first 20 days don't guarantee you good results, then I promise you, you're going to get clients in the future and you're going to be an amazing editor. But with this all complete, phase 3 gets checked off. And that wraps up our 90-day plan to mastering video editing. Now, if you're an editor who's ready to go from beginner to creating professional edits in just 90 days, there's a tiny issue. The plan that I shared with you is a roadmap, but it doesn't give you step-by-step guidance. Now, if you're confident that you can figure it out on your own, by all means go for it. I wish you the best. But if you actually want to make money with video editing and understand that the key to making that happen is becoming an expert video editor, then this is for you. Over the past year, I've developed the Ultimate Editors Program, a system designed to help editors master Premiere Pro, master After Effects, and 8 unique editing styles in just 60 days. Our students have achieved incredible results, creating stunning edits in just a few months. And here's how we can do the exact same thing for you. First, we're gonna guide you through our 50 Premiere Pro lessons, from beginner basics to advanced techniques. Then we're going to move on to our 50 After Effects lessons that will take you from a novice to an expert. And in just 3 to 4 weeks, you will have completely mastered both tools. Next, we're going to transform you into an expert short form editor in 30 days. You'll learn styles like Devin Jatho, Ali Abdaal, Bimaximize, and even cutting-edge 3D techniques. After that, we'll focus on long-form editing, teaching you styles like Iman Gaji, Isaac, and my own editing style. And by the end of the 90 days, you'll be an editor who's proficient in 8 unique styles, fully equipped for any project. But that's not all. While you're honing your skills, we're going to be building your own personal brand, creating content that attracts clients, and landing your first $1,000 a month gig through our 30-day land a client plan. To ensure your success, we're even hosting weekly group calls and 24/7 community support. This is the ultimate way to becoming a professional editor and making money with editing in 2025. Click the link down below and join Ultimate Editors. Let's make you a high-quality editor who gets paid to do what they love in the next 90 days.